Hello, my name is Pia Yoga, and today I'm going to explain Eka Pada Raja Kapotasana, more known as pigeon pose. This is a pose that we pretty much do in all of the practices, so it's very important to do it properly. Normally, we come from the pose from downward facing dog. So I'm going to be here in my downward facing dog. We start with our right leg. So the tendency is that we bring the knee in between the hands, and there our knee is aligned with the hip. If we want to feel more opening on the leg, on the hip, it's better to place actually the knee to the outside edge of the mat or below your wrist. Like almost it's touching the outer edge of your mat. Then you extend the back leg. Here you can place the foot parallel toward the front of the mat. However, this requires a lot of opening on the hip. If for doing that you lean toward that right hip, it's better, like I'm doing now, it's better to take that foot back and bring the hips back up so they are square toward the front. Okay, also doing this we protect the knee, so if we are not too open on our hips, it's better this than this. So we'll feel it too much on the knee, and we don't want that. We want to protect the knees. So here is a perfect position of my front leg, pushing the foot down, the pinky toe of the right foot down, so I protect the knee. I activate the muscles around my knee. The back leg is not going to be toward the side, so don't let that leg go toward the side, but you bring it in. So the foot is aligned with the outer edge of the hip, and you move it a little bit more back so you can feel more the opening. Once you get in this position, you squeeze the legs, so you push the knees down, so you lift yourself a little bit up, so your hips are going to be higher than your mat, and then your hips are going to be more square. So again, instead of leaning toward that right hip or being toward the sides with the hip, we want to squeeze the legs, square up the hips, and square up the shoulders. From there, we're scooping the tailbone, keeping the lower belly very in. We bring the shoulders up to create space in between the vertebrae. Squeeze the shoulders back and then down away. So we are opening the heart. Hands can be back, palms facing forward, or you can also reach them up. What you want to create here is the opening on the upper back. You can stay there, or you can take any variation that you want to do. Now, another tendency, when we take it into another variation, let's say we are going to do mermaid pose. Here, the back leg also is very active by pushing the toenails down. So you're kind of pushing the heel back, so that leg is not disactive with the heel toward the side. It's actually the heel is moving back by pushing those toenails down. So you squeeze, you elevate. And now the tendency when we are going to grab the back foot is that we lean forward and then we take that foot. So basically we have lost all of the activation that we have created. And then we are leaning forward to go back, so we are taking too much, we are feeling it too much on our lower back. We are compressing our lower back. Maybe if I do it here, you can also see it better on the other side. If I squeeze, lift up, hands back, and I can place a hand on top of a block or even on top of my thigh. Not to collapse there, but to push the hand away toward the floor, toward the block, and then grab the back foot. So again, I'm not leaning forward to go back, but I'm elevating to grab that back foot. And from there, when I have the clasp, I can take the mermaid pose, I'm here, then I can release the hips a little bit more down. But I'm still opening from the upper back and not too much from the lower back. But if we lean forward to go back, then the compression is going to be again on our lower back. When you go to this variation, which is called mermaid pose, you square up the hips again, so you work into taking those shoulders back forward. I'm going to do it again, looking forward, so you can see from every angle in that foot. Go for mermaid pose. Again, here I'm still pressing the knees down, elevating my hips, and then when I feel comfortable, I open the knees and bring my hips down. But I'm not leaning forward, I'm still up, scooping that tailbone, belly in, protecting the lower back. Feeling the stretch on the quadricep. Then when you finish, you can release that leg, remembering to pushing the toenails down, squaring up again a little bit more the hips if they have turned toward one side. If not, it's rolling a little bit. Square up the hips, lower belly in, reach your hands forward. You can bring them in fingertips so you elevate the wrists, so you create the strength on your wrists, on your fingertips, and then you rest the forehead down. So this variation, I elevate my elbows to keep the upper back active, belly in. You can also rest the hands down, which is more a passive stretch here, or not passive, but you are more passively resting here. Or even one fist on top of the other and rest your forehead there. And then you come back up. You will go to your downward facing dog, ready to do the other side. So we'll do it faster. Back foot, I move it back, I move it in toward the midline, I squeeze the legs, lift my hips, scoop the tailbone, lower belly in, squaring up the hips, the shoulders, hands back, opening my heart, looking up, or arms up. Then left hand outside edge of the hip on top of a block or on top of the thigh, grab the back foot, kick that leg back for a few seconds. Then bringing it in for the quad stretch, and stay there perfectly fine. You can take it into any variation that you want to do. Mermaid pose, or even full pigeon. Then when you finish, release that back leg. Make sure it's still aligned with the hip. Push the toenails, square up the hips again. You can move the knee a little bit more toward the side. Lower belly in. Exhale. Hips are square, right hip moving down and forward, and left hip moving down and back. Coming back up, then you take your vinyasa. And that was the tutorial for pigeon pose. I hope you have liked it. If you have any questions, you can always let us know on comments below or save this post to review it later. Namaste.